Greetings and salutations, everyone. It is time for another walkthrough video training guide here on twitch.tv/SamusGarobo, aka youtube.com/SamusGarobo. I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm enjoying putting it together for sure. We are on our way to Cult of the Sixth Chain, aka Co6, aka some of my favorite quests in the game, for a couple of reasons. One, they are super fast for the most part. Two, they give a really good experience, in my opinion, for the time invested. And three, you can get some pretty interesting in-reward options at your disposal if you do not have some deeper, more legacy items.
To the northwest.
So we'll try to talk about all that kind of stuff as it comes along. But for now, let's just get there. Let's just get there. Ride, pony, ride. The name was there. Could have stopped and got that name, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I normally do CO6 usually closer to the level to start with it. But that's okay. We're gonna knock it out here towards the end, and we're gonna end up banking a whole bunch of experience, kind of doing the run through here. We're gonna make sure that we have our astral projector activated. We're gonna knock these things out on Reaper 1 again. We're not trying to maximize our Reaper experience. We're just perfectly happy letting it trickle in, but we want to make sure that we have a very easy walkthrough for everybody to follow. Alright, a couple of semi-important things. Actually, let's go fire mode. The first little bit of this is good to be fire mode. So, the first couple of things to keep in mind is that there is a nasty trap right here that didn't work for years and years, but now it works again. I think what we'll do is we'll see if our hireling can trigger it. You can't disable it. There we go. I'm able to get close enough to do it. It is a poison trap, but as far as I know, there's no box. I've never found a box. Yeah. I have no way to disable that trap. But it didn't work for years and years, so it is working now. Pay attention to it. It tried really hard to catch some friends of mine on the hardcore server from time to time. Alright, when you walk in here, you have a choice. You can go to the right. This way is filled with humans. You can go to the left. This way is filled with ogres. It's kind of your pick. You'll have to go both directions at some point, but I tend to start this way. It doesn't really matter which way you decide to go. Either way, you're looking for the jailer, so you can get the jailer's key. Jailer's key is randomly the jailer is randomly placed in one of these 4 corner rooms. This quest is like a big square.
Dry blood and slivers of gnawed bone make a trail that stops abruptly at the east wall of the passage.
So it's just the way that I work it. You'll notice that we're running past a lot of secret doors, and these secret doors are like little offshoots that have sarcophaguses, oozes. It opens you up to the possibility of doing this optional quest. I'm not a big fan of the optionals in this particular quest, so I typically avoid them. We will probably take a second and explore one of them so you can get a rough idea of what it's like, but then probably just continue to skip them after that. If you're into getting your breakables, you'll have to go in those things and knock out the optionals.
Something with sharp, ragged claws has scratch the floor near the north wall here.
Alright, looks like we chose poorly this go around. So we're gonna end up going the entire circle. And that's really unfortunate. But I suppose it doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things.
To the west, you'll hear voices murmuring dark orisons to the shadow.
Yeah, Shu says they slow the quest chain way down, but they are required for conquest and ransack, which is why I usually don't bother. I feel like this is quick enough that there's no real reason to worry about it in
You now have the key to the ogre's cell.
in this situation. So, again, if you happen to have two people, a really good way to go is have one person unlock the doors because it takes a minute, and then have another person go around and free the guys. It's up to you how you want to do it. And we're going to go ahead and do another leg that we don't have to clear. But it'll be quicker be less walking around for nothing. So, I said it's a big square, right? There are people to rescue in the two southern corners, one guy here in the middle, and then in the north eastern corner. The northwestern corner is nothing. So what I tend to do is walk through this direction, see if the jailer's over here. I find a lot of the times the jailer is in that west corner. And then that way, wherever I find the key, I just turn around and start walking in the corresponding reverse C. Because there's no reason to fight your way to this western corner if you northwestern corner if you don't need it. All right, there are two more guys here, so let's take a look at one of these secret doors. So there's little chest, some sarcophaguses, some oozes. Fortuitously, these guys are black oozes, so they do die in firewalls. And then a bunch of sarcophaguses to break. Again, I don't mess with this stuff 9 times out of 10. But if you're looking for conquest, or you have a large enough group, it might be value for somebody to come through here and clean these up. Again, more experience that you can divide out amongst jobs for people is worthy of the time. You have two people go and do the main part of the quest. You have one guy clean up the east side, one person cleans up the west side, and you're good to go.
The ogre slaves have all been
so that was 326 Reaper experience and almost 7,000 regular experience. It took us almost 7 minutes. And that was us being pretty slow and pretty thorough. That was also the longest version of that quest. So if you're a little bit more Zergy happy, or you get a little bit luckier, you can really pick up the pace in that quest. Alright, so now we're going to pony ride over here, advance our quest chain.
A battered and scarred ogre chieftain watches you from among the ruins.
There is, of course, a shrine right here. And then a trick, assuming that you have your D-door off timer, is you can D-door, because you entered the quest zone back when you exited the quest, you D-door back to that area where you zoned into. In this case, this particular one's not that much time saving, but when you move to the later half of the quest chain, you'll save a lot of time.
A rasping voice growls up from the shadows, but you cannot make out the words.
Again, we're set up for fire mode. Alright, so now we gotta go fight down this hallway right here. In the middle that we bypassed before. There was a force field there. So now you have to choose left or right. Ogres or casters. Again, normally I would go humans. But because we happen to be this particular build, the fire actually does extra damage to trolls. So we're going to go troll side. I typically go caster side mostly because it's the triple taps are, I feel, more dangerous than the other side, and you I feel like humans die quicker than trolls, but you can go whichever way you like, obviously. But I feel like the extra damage is value. Again, it's essentially the same obstacles, the same quest. Let's see. I'm also going to make another quick note for you guys here. This is a good spot to have D-Door. Or not D-Door. It is a great spot to have D-Door. But it is a good spot to have Death Ward. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Death Ward potion here in a second. But if you don't have access to a Death Ward potion, you can get away with a couple other things. But the reason why is that these monsters, these whites that you're going to be fighting in this room, do neg level people, and it's pretty easy to get in trouble when you're getting neg leved. Especially when you're doing this at level. We're over leveled pretty significantly compared to what I would normally do this quest in. Alright, so it's 8,000 experience and 309 Reaper experience for 3 minutes of work. I said these are some of my favorite quests for leveling up. There's a reason why I go through those Grey Moon waning just to get here. Just to get here so fast. Again, the quests were quick enough. We could have taken those guys out on our first pass through. The zone would not have reset yet. But I'm not that worried about it. Come back, advance our quest chain yet again. It doesn't really, like, we're not saving that much time by D-dooring here instead of using our pony. But if you didn't have your pony, you would save a reasonable amount of time. But mostly I just don't want those people to take a shot at me and knock me off my pony. It's not cool. If there's a chest right here, then that guy's a named gargoyle, but there's no chest, so no, I'm not stopping. Another really cool feature, and this might be hard to hear, but this is a foul miasma, which is actually how Tobrel learned to say miasma. Fun fact. Alright, must find another exit. Ooh, boogada boogada. Right, there are many ways to do this quest. This is the way that I do it. Again, that's the whole point of this walkthrough, is to show people how I do things. And of course, pick up. Like, staying here clicking that thing like crazy. But I found this personally to be the best way to go through. There is this is a doorway with like maybe a collectible in it, but it's not part of the quest, so I skip it. You come down here to check to see if this name spider's here a reasonable amount of the time. I think it's like 500 experience, give or take. when it's here, so it's a reasonable amount of experience for the time. But it's not here today. You can pick up that missing collectible. Also, it's a reasonable spot to break some stuff. Not a big breaker. People know that. People know that I'm not big on breaking things. Alright, then we continue the Zerg through.
The air here seems choked with bleakness and evil, as if all joy has been... You have found the main worship hall. Now
I do still break this one here.
One of the altars of the Dark Six, but
partially out of habit.
The outer temple.
But we can also break it a little bit later. It doesn't really matter that much. So then I pop over here and I shoot this one. Samius, you're going back the way you already came. I know. Believe me, it's all part of the evil plan. So we're going to go back and we're going to jump down or slide down right here at the very beginning. And we're going to hug as close to this side of the walls as we can get away with. The reason why is junk falls down from these pillars and we don't want to deal with it. See, like that Carnage Reaper came from where that stuff was spawned. So we had to deal with it, and that's already enough shenanigans in my book. Grab that altar. There'll be an altar right up here that we pick up. You end up avoiding, I think, basically 1 or 2 fights this way. I honestly don't remember if it's 1 or if it's 2. And a fight avoided as long as you have your 10 kills for your Reaper experience is time shaved off the quest. Then I like to come up here, pull this lever, move back as far as I can, and then hopefully that'll keep most of the guys from coming out.
The power of the Dark Six is lessened here. You have found the side exit of the temple. You can escape now.
So this quest took us 3.5 minutes to do for 10,000 experience and 316 Reaper. Again, this is really efficient XP. I don't know why people dislike Co6 so much, but I'm a big fan. Alright, pony it back up. Ride, pony, ride. It's probably because there's so much running back and forth. A lot of your time is taken up by running back and forth, which is kind of not fun. But again, once you have the D-door or a horse or both, you really shave that time down significantly. And only one person... No, everyone has to advance the quest. Never mind. I was going to say only one person has to run down here and do that. But that is if you want to run through the quest multiple times.
A battered and scarred ogre chieftain watches you from among the ruins.
We'll D-door back to the front door. And we'll run around over here to the side quest. Or not the side quest, but the side door, where we have to walk in at.
The wrath that abated with the altar's destruction has returned threefold. You feel as if you might drown in fury.
Alright, we're going to probably end up having to pull these guys anyway, so we might as well just knock them out to start with. If you have like a really good stealth, you can sneak through here, but I would not bother with like invisibility or anything like that, just because it's the odds that one of these guys are a champion is pretty high. Is this correct? Yeah, this is correct. Alright, so this is how I solved that puzzle. I start at the back and work my way around. It's pretty quick. We take out this guy. We take out this guy. This is going to be one of the few optionals that we're going to engage in to some degree, but we're not going to complete. We might throw a firewall in here just to see if we happen to catch it, but I've never had that happen, so I think it's a fire guy. Okay, so I get the puzzle all solved, and then I pull this puzzle tile and I step back out. And what it does is it locks you in place with a couple of methods. I don't bother. And again, we're going to take the jump down the bridge approach. That avoids, again, a couple of fights. Hug this wall the best we can, so we don't have to deal with shenanigans coming down from the top. Bam, the door's open and we're ready to carry on. So now's a good time to switch to your door opening rune arm. Get that thing charging. Yes, it is a DPS decrease. It does suck, but he has to. Also, this room's got 2 collectible mushrooms. I don't think they're particularly useful collectible mushrooms, but I always collect them anyway. There are these big side doors. Some of them you can open. That one you cannot, like this one. I guess since it's not big. Don't think there's a proper optional in there so much as it's again, it's like a little fight and a collectible. We'll stick our nose in it.
The sarcophagus in the middle of the dais seems to stand out from the wall. Perhaps something is behind it.
The door is locked. See, 2 gargoyles and a cabinet. Oh, a secret door. It's been a long time since I've bothered to stop and do this optional. Or this doorway. Let's see what's behind this secret door. Learn together. An adventurer's pack. Oh, and a treasure chest. I guess 2 collectibles, and those are good ones. An adventure pack and a cabinet. Those are not bad. For taking the time to blow open a door and loot 2 collectibles, that's not the worst. I have to get in the habit of redoing that. Alright, Shu, have a good one.
Vendisco, Prelate of the Six, sneers at you from atop the dais. Prelate Vendisco perishes, blood and vile oaths spilling from his lips.
Ooh, 65 fragments. Go us. Coming around to the back, grab my collectible, grab this chesticle. And then we're in pretty good shape to just run to the end of the quest, basically. Now, here is a, sometimes it works really well, tip, and sometimes it doesn't. If you split right down the middle, the methods may not see you. However, if you pop your hireling, like right about there, they will go after that hireling. So even if they do come and see, like, it looks like we split it pretty well. Oh, here they come. Now the hireling is getting their aggro. We can get recalled out, and then we can pull our hireling out. Now, everybody's happy. If you have to stop and clean out those methods, you're talking about, I don't know, like 8 or 9 methods to clean. It's just such a pain.
A foul miasma shrouds these ruins. The temple of the Six lies dormant no more.
Oh, you monsters. So you want to do your best to split that middle. You can also invis. Sometimes that helps. You can try to stealth. Sometimes that helps. But I personally just find run as quick as you can through that. Walk the eye of the needle. And you'll make the best progress.
A battered and scarred ogre chieftain watches you from among the ruins.
Okay, so now we gotta go deal with some methods, which is back to the main door. Now this is probably what I would consider to be the toughest of the chain. Is this one quest. And the reason why is that there's just so much junk in here. Also, we're going to switch back to our ghostly weapon here.
Bakes the walls of the inner temple. It is true then. The fires of Furnia itself must blaze within.
So many methods. Methods are the worst. I mean, right after things like Thrackhounds and whatnot. If you have charm spells, a good way to kind of clear out this area is to run through here and charm these casters right here. They do a great job of grabbing the aggro for the methods. The methods usually kill them really quickly. What bow am I using? I'm using a rat catcher, but I also have a Barovian heavy crossbow. Those are my two weapons. All right, so we have traps that'll shoot across right here. The trap box is on the opposite side. This guys will run across or run over and smash sarcophaguses and wake up dead people. This is real cool. Another trap box. This is probably one of the more dangerous traps. Right away. You think that you can jump through it, but it doesn't really trigger in a way that makes that happen very easily. You stand inside the pit, things can't hit you as easily, but then getting back out tends to be a little bit of a hassle. Alright, I'm also going to suggest Then you go ahead and turn right again, so you can pick up the Romantic Sonnet, that bookshelf, and work your way around. We will get this one as well, this alchemy table. But a lot of people skip that book. They don't realize that it's there. In the event that you have to run through this, one, I apologize, but you know, fire shields, protections, resist, and just jump through as quick as you can. Don't hesitate. It can be a real challenge for sure. It's not as bad as that blade, though. Why use the rat catcher? The higher crit range. Yeah, the crit profile and the ×3 is the real reason for using the rat catcher. The rat catcher will be... It's so popular for this build, in fact, they actually are going to be reducing the crit profile next update. From 17 to 20 to 18 to 20. Or, yeah, 18 to 20. It also happens to be ×3 instead of ×2. So, instead of 19 to 20 ×2, it's 17 to 20 ×3. Pretty significant. At this point, I would usually run past these two guys anymore. I don't care about this treasure chest. If you do decide to get this treasure chest, to go around this way and try not to stand on either of these jets. Because the fire, obviously. But normally I would just run past. I just run right past these guys. I would get on the summoning fire as quickly as possible and knock it out. Right? Just like that. If you're melee, I would, of course, jump on the middle of it, whatever. And then what I like to do, we don't have to this life, but what I like to do normally is then I just turn around and run out of the quest. Like, so I'll have those two casters following me, I'll have the pile of methods following me, and I'll just run. Like, I don't care. Now that the quest is done, I'm not worried about it. How long did it take us? It took us almost 6 minutes for 11,430 experience and 364 Reaper experience. So we have lots of time left. We still have our hour left on our buffs, and we didn't even like get started right away. It is a significant motion. Even though we went through the front door and we went back out the front door, it teleports us back to the side entrance. It's just a thing. It's a bug. It's something they should have fixed that they've never fixed.
The temple of the Six lies dormant no more. The jungle struggles.
Man, all the rungs and not one gargoyle. That's a shock. I feel like that gargoyle is there relatively often. I do suppose, though, we've only reset twice. Right, we've only had one quest go more than 5 minutes.
A battered and scarred ogre chieftain watches you from among the ruins.
And of course, we'll D-door back. Again, the D-door now is saving a lot of time. Even when on the horse, it still takes us, like, what, 30 seconds, 40 seconds to ride back. So D-dooring back is shaving half of that time off. Pretty significant. Then this one can be tricky at times, but I feel like it's It's not too bad. Go ahead and cast your buffs. I do tend to pick a little bit of a fight unnecessarily for the most part. So you can walk in here and grab this collectible, straight back out. Then you come around and you can get this collectible, but you do have to kill these 2 or 3 guys to get it, which is good because you have to kill, I think, 2 extra guys to get your Reaper experience, but the 3rd guy is overkill. So partially necessary, partially not necessary. Right, making sure that we are not in fire mode. So for the longest time, I solved this puzzle every time. I would sit here and go like 1 green, 2, and like I would type this out like in my little code, and then I'd go around to the other side and I would clean it out and type out my little code so I had all the answers. And then my friend Grimoire and Gildy, friend and Gildy Grim, made me a solver, and she was nice enough to include these in here. So now I don't have to remember it anymore or look it up or solve it. I can just look it up, and that's under DDO Puzzles app. Always like to do a little ad for this app right here. So it's under Rune Wheels, Co6, bam. Don't have to waste the brain power on it anymore. Don't have to go someplace else. All those puzzle answers are right there. So this is yellow. This is what I like to call ghost again. Red is what I like to call eye. There's also like a mnemonic aid for this, but I don't remember what it is. It's like a bunch of 4s, but one of them's like 6 or 5 or something. Yeah, and I don't worry about that kind of stuff. So we've got 10 guys. We're gonna do 2 more here. H. Force field is down. Idol of the Fury.
Bishop Zasha off. A foul mix of drop Zasha off completes his prayer with his dying breath.
And then the Fire Reaver.
Of the flame has
I think a method got in our way. Yeah, we got 1 extra guy even. So that's 10,000 experience and 330 for what would I say, 4 minutes, 3 minutes a time. Again, pretty efficient, pretty efficient series here. So let's talk about the end reward chain, because I mentioned that there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. So there's 2 that come right to mind off the top of the bat. One I thought I was actually carrying around. It's probably somewhere in my TR cache and I just missed it. But the bracers. The bracers that come out of here I find to be pretty strong bracers for swappable items. They're going to be like swim 10, I think they're jump 10, and I think they're underwater action. I believe they may also have a slot on them. So if you wanted to, from what I recall, which is again not always correct, but from what I recall, I think you can set them up as like your catch-all items. I thought I saw a pair. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, so that's great if you happen to get it. This mummified bat, I mentioned before that there are not very many trinkets that have different icons to them. So when I'm trying to find my Featherfall item quickly and make sure that I don't, oh, there is a pair right here, Cliff Diver charms. Swim, jump, and striding with the yellow slots. So you could put Featherfall on this, and it could be your catch-all item. At level 9. Before that, obviously, it gets a little trickier, but at level 9, it's pretty solid. Alright, so Mummified Bat. Again, icons to switch trinkets. I'm a trinket swapper. That's like my hot swap area. So like, this is my deadly and an intelligence item. But if I needed to jump off to do like a skeleton key for my Featherfall, or the 5 rings for some extra resistance, that's just kind of how it works. So this is a really good one for people to have in the event that you don't have like a skeleton key with a Featherfall slot and so on and so forth. The Snowstar is a fine thrower. It's got a 16 to 20 critical range, so you're going to be critting a lot with it. You don't crit for a lot, but you do crit often, which is pretty sweet. You have the Quicksilver Cosk, which is 10% melee alacrity and 25% striding. It is just on clothing, but it is really insane. 10% melee alacrity, if you're not worried about wearing heavy armor, is a lot. It really is. It's very good, especially at level 8. The Quilted Cape is good because it's one of the few things that give you sonic resistances. And then Skin of the Mockery is good because it has 2 augment slots. So you could put in like the Trip Augment and the Neg Level Augment, or the Trip Augment and like just a regular store, like a big damage augment. Can be quite good. And Human Bane, there's a lot of humans in the early game to kind of deal with. And then I actually really like this Blood Machete as a rage clicky again with 2 augments. It's really solid more as a caster item, in my opinion, for the Blood Machete, because you can put the 2 augments in for your spell casting, spell power things, as opposed to like hand wraps, which are more for melee, in my opinion. The rest of these things are kind of middle of the road, to be really honest. I guess this gives you 2 slots. It gives you a purple and a colorless, but those are the ones I tend to look for. Does this one have 2 slots? No. In this case, I'm probably just going to take the favor. I have all these things. I'm pretty sure I have a Cliff. No, I'm going to go ahead and take a Cliff Diver Luck Charms, just in case I deconstructed my last pair. I do want to make sure I have some. There's enough places in the game where you want to be able to swim that you make sure you have it. Mummified Bat, again, is an excellent choice. But as I already have a Featherfall trinket, I'm going to take the thing that helps me swim. Alright, well that is Co6, aka Cult of the 6 Chain. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. Really would appreciate it. And again, this is recorded as part of our Twitch.tv live stream, twitch.tv/SamusGrobo. So if you're watching this video over on my YouTube channel, please take a minute and consider joining us live. Alright, I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you again real soon. Toodles.